Hello, welcome to episode 34 of live.withcode.uk. This week it's Comic Relief, so we're going to have a Red Nose Day special, and the code that we go through together will run on a BBC microbit, so that if you have a physical microbit, you can attach it to your face mask, and whenever you shake the microbit throughout the day, it will display a little animated red nose. Or if you press one of the buttons, it will display Comic Relief or Red Nose Day, or whatever message you want it to display. If you don't have a physical microbit, then you can still run this code. You can simulate it in your browser on any device. But let's get started. Remember, the whole point of live.withcode.uk is to build up your confidence in Python programming, and you only get confidence through experience, and you only get experience through regularly making time to practice Python code. So that's the whole point. Remember, you can access the learning resources, the activities through live.withcode.uk, or the links are in the description underneath this video if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, so first, enable access to the microbit simulator and the microbit commands. We'll import the microbit module, which allows us to do things like microbit.display.scroll and put a message like Red Nose Day, which will work, but it would be a lot easier for us if we didn't have to say microbit dot every time, and we could just access the display module inside it. But in order to do that, we need to import the microbit module slightly differently. So from microbit import star, that will put the microbit module into the global namespace so that you can just access everything inside it straight away. Okay, so I would like that message to only be displayed if you press one of the buttons. So if button A dot is pressed, it will look like this isn't working, because if you press the button, nothing happens. But what's actually happening here is this code will run very quickly and then stop, and it only checks if you're pressing the button at that moment in time. We need to put it inside a forever loop, as in a loop that repeats forever and ever and ever, so that it keeps going round and round and round to check and see if you're pressing that button. This will work, but I don't know if you can hear the fan kicking in on my laptop. The CPU's having to work pretty hard because it's constantly executing these lines of code. And if you run it on your microbit, again, it would work, but it would use up a lot of CPU processing power, and it would eat through the battery life relatively quickly. So let's slow it down with a sleep command, so that it just doesn't use all of that CPU power. So it will still work, it just won't use as much battery life on the microbit. Fab. So we can do that with the other button as well. So if button B is pressed, then you can have a different message. I'll go for Comic Relief. You can have whatever you'd like. And then it would be nice if, what have I done? Indentation error, there we go. So the if statements have to be lined up. It's better. Now, the microbit has an accelerometer built in that can detect all of these gestures. And notice when you press one, it adds it to a list in here. And when you detect it, it will look at the first detected gesture. So in order to do that, let's say if the accelerometer, spelled that wrong, accelerometer, has detected a gesture at any point in time, and we can specify which gesture we want. So let's go for the shake gesture. Then we can display something. So display.scroll, I'll just put an exclamation mark in for now. So if you shake, it's detected it and it's shown that exclamation mark. Notice as soon as it detects it, it takes it out of the list of detected gestures. So what I'd like to do is have my own animation in here. So let's define an animation. We'll call it animation, and it's just going to be a list of images. So an animation is literally just one image displayed for a fraction of a second, and then another image displayed for a fraction of a second. So images for a BBC microbit are dead easy. You can switch all of the LEDs on, maximum brightness, so that will be the first row of LEDs. And then the second row, I'll switch all of these off, and then the middle row is going to be all on, and then off, and then on again. So that should be just one image. And for now, let's forget about the fact it's going to be an animation and just display that image. I'll call it I. Here we go. So when we shake the microbit, oh dear, what have I done? Display.display, sorry, display.show. That's better. Shake. There we go. So the 9s mean the LEDs are fully on, the 0s mean the LEDs are fully off, and the colon just means like a line break. It goes back to the next line. So if you put this into a list, so let's call it animation equals, and then a list of images, it will just display each of these images in turn. So let's have that one and another one underneath. So I could swap these around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, let's just alternate like this. So now if we shake, it should display the top row fully on and then switch round to have the top row fully off. Let's see. And you can determine how long each frame is on there for. What I'm going to do is copy and paste some of these that I worked through before for a little red nose animation, and then you can change them yourself. So let's have a look. If we shake, to begin with, we see just one dot. So we've got one dot in the middle here, and then the dot grows. So we've got 3 pixels switched on in the middle row, 1 pixel just above it, 1 pixel just below it, and then it's grown again to be 3 pixels above all 5 pixels and then 1 pixel on top of that, and then it just shrinks again after. You can put whatever animation you like in here as long as it's 5 repetitions of 5 numbers in here. So that's it. There's some challenges that you can work through. My suggestions are, for challenge 1, you change the message so it's personalized to this year. So when I'm recording, it's 2021, but you can put whatever message in that you like. You could change the red nose animation, a little smiley face or a waving red nose or something like that. Or you can put in something that says, if button A and button B is pressed, you can have a different animation. So you'll make your own list, populate it, fill it up with your own images, and make your own animation. So happy comic relief, enjoy Red Nose Day on Friday, and I will see you next week.